My name is Harper Vance, 29 years old, financial auditor. In my line of work, numbers don't lie, but people do. The sky outside the floor-to-ceiling windows of our Chicago penthouse was the color of a bruised lung. Preston sat across from me, adjusting his tie like he was preparing for a board meeting, not a breakup. "We need to talk, Harper," he said, the words polished. "My parents think we are rushing things. They are worried about compatibility. We need a break, just some time to reflect." I didn't gasp. I just continued stirring my black coffee. I noticed his left hand resting on the table. The engagement ring, a platinum band I had selected for its durability, was already gone. The tan line where it used to sit was the only honest thing about him. He wasn't asking for a break. He was executing a divestment strategy. Before we open the books on this betrayal, drop a comment and let me know where you are listening from. I want to know who is standing with me in this audit. Preston stood up. "I'll stay at my parents' estate for a few weeks," he said, his voice regaining that smooth, confident cadence he used when selling high-risk portfolios. "Use this time to think, Harper. Really think about if you fit into the life I'm building." He walked out. The door clicked shut like a vault locking. Most women would have collapsed onto the sofa. But I am not most women. I am an auditor. And when a stakeholder abruptly pulls out of a merger without prior notice, you don't cry. You investigate. My first instinct wasn't emotional, it was logistical. The grand ballroom at the Drake Hotel. We were 6 months away from the date. Final deposits were due in 3 weeks. If this was a break, we needed to pause the vendor contracts to avoid penalties. I dialed the events coordinator. Brenda answered on the second ring. "Harper, so good to hear from you," she chirped. "Actually, Brenda," I said, keeping my voice flat, "I need to put a hold on our date. Preston and I are taking some time apart." There was a long, uncomfortable silence. "Oh," Brenda said, her voice dropping. "Harper, I'm confused. Mr. Sterling called me on Monday. Monday, 2 days before he sat in this kitchen and talked about needing space." "He called you?" I asked. "Yes," Brenda said. "He canceled the wedding reservation. He said the engagement was off." My chest tightened. "Okay. And the non-refundable deposit? The $20,000? "That's the thing," Brenda said. "He didn't lose the deposit. He asked me to transfer the funds. Since the date was still open and paid for, he rebooked the ballroom under a different event name. He said it was a family emergency, and he needed to secure the venue for his parents." I walked to the window. "A family emergency. What is the new event name, Brenda?" "It is listed as the Sterling 30th Anniversary Gala." I hung up. The Sterling 30th Anniversary Gala. He hadn't just canceled our wedding. He had cannibalized it. He had taken the date and the $20,000 we had deposited, half of which was mine, and gifted it to his parents for a vanity party. He didn't want a break. He wanted to reallocate resources. He stole my wedding to pay for his mother's ego. I walked into the home office and opened my laptop. I logged into our joint bank account, labeled Future Fund. Balance, $130,000. The ledger showed the transaction history clearly. 3 days ago, debit, $20,000 to the Drake Hotel. I scrolled back through 4 years of history. $75,000 from me, hard-earned money, and $75,000 from him. But then I saw it, a recurring transfer from an account labeled Sterling Trust. Every time Preston made a deposit into our wedding fund, an identical amount had been wired to his personal checking account from his parents a few days prior. He hadn't been saving. He had been funneling his parents' money into our account to match my contributions. The money wasn't his. It was a loan, a leash. I sat back. I felt a strange sensation washing over me. It wasn't grief. It was the cold, hard clarity of a balance sheet that finally balances. In economics, there is a concept called the sunk cost fallacy. It is the tendency to continue an endeavor simply because you have already invested time or money, even if the current costs outweigh the benefits. We stay in bad relationships because we are terrified of wasting the last 4 years. I looked at the cursor blinking on the screen. 4 years of emotional labor. 4 years of fixing his credit score and organizing his schedule. I had treated Preston like a blue-chip stock, believing that with enough management, he would yield a high return. But looking at that ledger, I realized the truth. Preston wasn't an asset. He was a liability, A depreciating asset that was hemorrhaging value every single day. You don't fix a liability like that. You liquidate it. I didn't hesitate. I thought about the bottom line. The account held $130,000 remaining. My initial contribution was $75,000, but $10,000 of my money was already gone, sunk into the ballroom floor for a party I wasn't invited to. Math is cruel, but it is fair. I typed in the transfer amount, $65,000. My precise share of the remaining liquidity. I was taking my equity and walking away. I was writing off the $10,000 loss as the price of tuition, the cost of learning exactly who Preston Sterling was. I clicked transfer. The screen loaded. Then, a green checkmark appeared. Transfer successful. I closed the laptop. The apartment was quiet again, but the air felt different. Lighter. Cleaner. I went to the bedroom and started packing. I didn't pack everything. Just the clothes I had bought with my own money. I left the jewelry his mother had given me. I left the engagement gifts. I was done. But silence is loud. And when you take money from entitled people, they don't reflect. They panic. The next morning, my phone woke me up in the hotel room I had checked into. 7:03 in the morning. Preston. For missed calls. And a text message full of question marks. I unlocked my phone and opened the banking app first. The $65,000 was sitting safely in my personal savings account. Then I checked the voicemails. The first one was breathless. Harper, I'm at the bank. The card was declined. The caterers for the event need the deposit today. What did you do? Where's the money? I smiled. He had slipped. For the event. He wasn't worried about our wedding fund. He was worried about the gala. The second voicemail was from the Sterling Estate landline. Harper, this is Cynthia. Her voice was smooth, like silk wrapped around a knife. I just got off the phone with Preston. He is in absolute distress. I don't know what kind of game you think you are playing, running off with family resources like a common thief, but you need to fix this immediately. I paused the recording. I could picture her in her solarium, clutching a martini glass. She continued, that money was allocated for a family milestone. Borrowing funds for a legacy event isn't theft, Harper. It is reallocation. We were testing you to see if you could be a team player. Clearly, you are failing. Transfer the funds back by noon, or we will have to involve the authorities. We are trying to protect you from yourself, dear. Don't make us ruin you. I saved the voicemail to a folder named Evidence. I replayed her message in my head, dissecting it. Running off with family resources. Deny. She was denying the money was mine. Like a common thief. Attack. She was labeling me a criminal for taking back what I earned. We were testing you, trying to protect you. Reverse victim and offender. She was painting herself as the benevolent matriarch and me as the unstable aggressor. It was textbook Darvo behavior. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. It is a manipulation tactic used to evade accountability. But auditors don't question reality. We verify it. I didn't reply. Response is fuel to people like them. They want the drama because it distracts from the facts. If I argued, we would be talking about my tone. We wouldn't be talking about the $20,000 they stole. So I gave them nothing. I opened my email and composed a message to Mr. Blackwood, a forensic lawyer I knew. Subject, retainer agreement, asset recovery. Mr. Blackwood, please find attached a ledger of unauthorized withdrawals made by Preston Sterling. I anticipate legal retaliation. I would like to retain your services to draft a formal notice of asset separation. I am not interested in mediation. I am interested in a clean audit. I hit send. Then I blocked Preston, Cynthia, and Gregory. I went downstairs to the hotel lobby and ordered breakfast. For the first time in 4 years, I wasn't checking my phone to see if Preston needed me. I was a free agent, but the Sterlings weren't done. When entitlement meets resistance, it escalates. 2 days later, I was sitting in Mr. Blackwood's office. He read through my spreadsheets. This is thorough, he said. The voice note from the mother is admissible. She admits to the reallocation. That's admission of misappropriation. You're in the clear, Harper. But they will try to scare you. Let them try, I said. My phone buzzed. It was a call from Tess, Preston's cousin, the black sheep of the family. Mr. Blackwood nodded. Answer it. Speaker. I tapped the icon. Harper. Tess whispered. She sounded like she was hiding. I'm here, Tess. Listen, you need to know what's really going on, she said. I heard Aunt Cynthia talking to Uncle Gregory. The gala, it's not just an anniversary party. I leaned forward. What is it? It's a launch party, Tess said. For Preston. A launch for what? I asked. No, Tess hissed. A launch for his new engagement. The room went dead silent. What? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. They're announcing a merger, Tess said, between the Sterling family and the Vanderhoven family. Preston is soft launching an engagement to Isabella Vanderhoven. You know, the shipping heiress. I felt a cold laugh bubbling up. Isabella, 24, beautiful and worth millions. They forced him to break up with you, Tess continued, because the Vanderhovens wouldn't sign the merger unless Preston was single and available. The gala on Saturday, that's the engagement party, Harper. They used your money, your wedding deposit, to pay for the party where he's going to get engaged to someone else. I looked at Mr. Blackwood. He took off his glasses. That, Mr. Blackwood said softly, is fraud. Are you sure, Tess? I asked. I saw the draft invitations, Tess said, celebrating the union of Sterling and Vanderhoven. Thank you, Tess. I hung up. I looked out the window. The anger I expected wasn't there. Instead, I felt a surge of professional adrenaline. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a hostile takeover attempt. And they had used my capital to fund it. They want a merger, I said to Mr. Blackwood. He smiled. And they just lost their liquidity. The gala is on Saturday, I said. Today is Wednesday. I withdrew $65,000. The account is drained. Mr. Blackwood adjusted his glasses, which means the checks your ex and his family issued to the caterers, florists, security will all bounce by morning. And without the vendors, I replied, there is no gala, no announcement, no Isabella, he concluded. I rose from my chair. Draft the notice of asset separation, Mr. Blackwood, but hold it until Friday. I want them to feel the pressure. Friday arrived with a sharp winter bite. At 6 p.m, 24 hours before the so-called society event of the year, I powered on my phone in my new apartment. It exploded with missed calls, dozens, followed by frantic texts from Preston, Cynthia, Gregory, even Isabella's father's assistant. I didn't open a single one. Then the buzzer sounded. On the camera feed stood Cynthia Sterling, windblown, pale, wrapped in a trench coat instead of her usual curated glamour. I buzzed her in, not out of sympathy, but because I wanted to witness the collapse of her facade. She nearly stumbled inside. Harper, she gasped. We have to talk. I doubt it, I said. You received the notice this morning. The notice? Yes, but Harper listened. The caterers just walked. The florist canceled. Security withdrew. All the checks bounced. Imagine that. She wrung her hands. Isabella's parents arrive tonight. If the gala fails, if we look insolvent, the merger collapses. Preston will lose everything. Sounds like a liquidity issue, I said. Maybe you should sell that Tesla you bought him. There isn't time, she snapped. Harper, please. We handled things poorly, but this is family. Loan us the $65,000 for 48 hours. When the merger closes, we'll pay back double. You can still be part of us. Preston misses you. Isabella was business. I stared at her. She wielded family like a bargaining chip. She thought I still wanted a seat at their collapsing table. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. There's a kind of quiet resignation people talk about in jobs, doing only what's required when you're undervalued. Relationships can die the same way. I reached for an envelope on the table. I have something for you. Hope flickered in her eyes. She tore it open. It wasn't a check. It was an invoice. Invoice 001 to Sterling Family Trust. From Harper Vance Consulting. Services included 4 years of personal reputation management for Preston, crisis handling, unauthorized venue deposits, emotional labor, priceless. Total due, $111,000. Payment, immediate. At the bottom, in red ink, I'd written, net balance, you owe me an apology I can't afford to wait for. The color drained from her face. I'm not your bank anymore, I said softly. I'm the auditor. And you failed. You can't do this, she whispered. You're ruining us. I didn't ruin you. I just stopped funding the illusion. I opened the door. Leave, or I'll call security. Mine is fully paid. She left. I locked the door. Saturday night passed quietly. While the Sterlings panicked in a half-empty ballroom serving cold cuts, I assembled a bookshelf on my living room floor. Screw by screw, the structure held, a simple cause and effect I hadn't felt with Preston in years. By Sunday, headlines confirmed the collapse. Vanderhoven merger talks halted amid liquidity concerns. Tess and a hushed voice memo describing the disaster. No decor, no catering. Isabella fleeing at the sight of folding tables. By Monday, Preston's job was gone. In his industry, trust is capital. They had none left. I felt no triumph, only equilibrium. At my desk, morning light glinting off fresh snow, I deleted the folder labeled wedding plans. The digital crinkle of the trash emptying was pure relief. Then I checked my bank account. The $65,000 sat safely there. I renamed the savings goal from our future to the Freedom Fund. Closure, I realized, is an internal audit, a moment where you decide whose debts you're done carrying. My apartment was quiet, peaceful, paid for by my own competence. Silence, I understood, isn't empty. It's solvency.